Today, we're going to talk about neighborhoods you might want to know about if you're thinking about either moving to Chandler or buying a home in Chandler. Now, there's a ton of neighborhoods that I'm not going to be talking about in this video that are absolutely fantastic, but I'm really selecting a handful that often people are unfamiliar with. You could say they're maybe somewhat more of hidden gems. And something else to consider too is, okay, these neighborhoods, they're fantastic, they're lovely, but they're not like some hidden utopia, right? There's definitely some things that aren't perfect about them. So I am gonna share some common complaints I've heard from some of my clients previously or people that have lived in these neighborhoods. And then hopefully that way you can decide if these neighborhoods are worth investigating further. And my intention with this channel is to give it to you straight and really share things that you can't really Google. So if you are thinking about moving to the East Valley, please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. So the first neighborhood I wanna talk about is Countryside Estates. And this is actually more on the south side of Chandler, on the Chandler and Cooper crossroads to be exact. Now, the reason so many people love this neighborhood is it's a gated community, but it's also really clean and it's very green. There's tree-lined streets throughout the neighborhood. And the unique thing about this neighborhood too is how they structured it. When you first enter in, you have the main road, and then every street with a house on it is actually in a cul-de-sac. So there's really minimal traffic through this neighborhood. The homes are actually all single level homes as well. They're pretty decent size, between 2,500 square feet up to 3,500 square feet. And if you live in Arizona or are familiar with Arizona, you probably know we don't have basements here. The soil is very, very hard and can be very expensive and time consuming to actually construct a basement. But this neighborhood actually does have a fair amount of basements, so that's a unique feature, I would say, of this neighborhood. The homes were built in the early mid 2000s, so a lot of them like 2005, so they're like medium old, if you will. And the lot sizes are pretty decent. A lot of them are about a quarter acre or 10,000 square feet to 15,000 square feet. And you will find a majority of the homes have pools as well. As far as price point, you're seeing 700s, 800s. There was one this past year that sold in the 900. Really, if you have a larger home, basement, and then the finishes are nicer, that's of course gonna push up the price on the house. Now, I did promise I would share some of the qualms or the negative feedback of this neighborhood, if you will. The first one has to do with the HOA. So HOA currently is $118 a month, and there's not a community pool. I know a lot of people that are looking or willing to pay this level of HOA fee or this amount for HOA, they're expecting to have a community pool and a lot of amenities. Now, really where that HOA money is going to is maintaining these beautiful tree-lined streets and walking trails and of course the gate. But if you're looking for something with a lower HOA fee, probably not the neighborhood for you. Now, the second thing that people often complain about is actually where this neighborhood is in Chandler. So you're further on the southeast part, so you're gonna be more on the peripheral of Phoenix Metro as a whole. So if you have to commute, to Central Phoenix, or you have to get to the airport regularly, it's gonna take you a lot longer this part of Chandler than if you're further north. But neighborhood number 2 that we're gonna talk about, Heatherbrook, this is actually on the very north side of Chandler, so a much more central location, if you will. You're actually on Elliott and 101, so you're literally like a 3-minute drive from the 101. If you have access to highway, it's gonna make everything easier as far as commuting. And the interesting thing is, even though you are so close to the highway and have very convenient access, it's actually very quiet, surprisingly. And this neighborhood definitely has more amenities as well. There is a community pool there, there's tennis courts, a lot of green spaces, and there's also pickleball. You can't forget pickleball. Now, some of the fees or the HOA fees does vary depending if you're in a single family home or a townhome. Single family home, you're looking about $60-ish a month, which actually is pretty good considering the amount of amenities that are available. Townhomes are gonna be a little bit more expensive. You're looking closer to $150. As far as price point, it definitely is a more affordable neighborhood than most in Chandler. For a townhome, you're looking 300s, 400s. Single family homes, you're gonna be more in that $500,000 range. Now, some of the negative feedback I hear about this neighborhood is, first, a lot of the homes were built in the 80s, so it definitely has more of that 80s aesthetic, or we're seeing a lot of homes that are outdated, if you will. And then the second thing is a lot of the homes look very, very similar to one another. You're gonna have the same exterior paint color, you're gonna have that stucco, and then you're gonna have that tile roof. So if you're looking for something that's maybe not quite so cookie cutter, this is probably not the right neighborhood for you. But as far as location, you really can't beat this neighborhood. And there's also a really, really good Japanese restaurant, Shimogamo. It's probably my favorite sushi place in the East Valley, and that's right around the corner. But if you are trying to avoid that cookie cutter feel, this next neighborhood might be for you. This is the Silk Stocking or Chandler Historic District. And the area I'm talking about specifically is actually on Washington Street, and this is directly north of downtown Chandler. Now, we don't have a lot of older homes in the Phoenix East Valley, Chandler specifically, but this is one of the few areas where we actually do have homes that were built in the 20s, 30s, 40s. And there's no HOA here, so if you're trying to avoid an HOA, this could be a good option. Now, one thing to note is a lot of these homes, they're almost more of a bungalow style home, so they are pretty tiny. But the interesting or cool thing about this area too is a lot of these homes, they're either like duplexes or they have a casita in the back. So if you're interested in either house hacking or maybe even setting up an Airbnb in the second unit because it's close to downtown, this really could be a good option or a good neighborhood for you. The two things I hear most often about this area or complaints is the first, it's pretty close to downtown Chandler or very close to downtown Chandler. So it's not going to be like a super quiet, remote area. Now, the second thing too is, okay, Washington Street is beautiful. A lot of the homes have been remodeled beautifully, but if you go like a block over, you're gonna find some houses that might need a little TLC. So if this is an area that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend actually walking around and going a block or two over just to see if the area would be okay with you and if it would match you and your family's needs. But maybe you're looking for something that's a little bit larger or has more land. I'm gonna take you up and show you Caballos Ranchitos, and it literally is comprised of horse ranches. The location of this neighborhood is absolutely fantastic. You're very close to Heatherbrook, that second neighborhood I was talking about. So you're on that north side of Chandler, really close to the highway. So it's very easy to get around Phoenix Metro. But the interesting thing is when you drive through or around these homes, it really feels like you're out in the country. So you get the best of both worlds. You get like a very tranquil neighborhood, but you also are close to everything you want to be in Phoenix Metro. The lots are much larger. It's common to see, an acre to an acre and a half, and they are zoned as horse properties. So you can have horses there and other animals if you wish. The homes are actually flood irrigation lots as well, which can save you quite a bit of money on water. Thing to remember in really the Phoenix East Valley or Phoenix Metro as a whole, land is not cheap. It definitely comes with a price tag. So if you're looking for one of these homes in this neighborhood, you're probably gonna need to be in that 7-figure range. And that really is the only negative thing I've heard people say about this area is that it's expensive. And really anywhere in Phoenix Metro where you're looking for land, it does come with a price tag. The next neighborhood I'm gonna talk about is definitely more of a neighborhood feel, less of a country feel. And this is Pinelake Estates. In my personal opinion, this is one of the most beautiful neighborhoods in Chandler. There's these man-made lakes and you have bridges and walking trails and parks. It's super clean. The homes are quite beautiful as well. The homes are pretty decent size as well. A lot of them, or the smaller size, is going to be like 2,500 square feet. And then I've seen them go up to just shy of 4,000 square feet. So it's not like there's these giant estates, but they do have a fair amount of square footage. Price point for these homes, you're looking at like 800s, and then it does go all the way up to 1.5 million. Now those higher priced homes are going to be on the lake most likely. But if you're looking for a lower priced home, the sister neighborhood just adjacent to it, a lot of those are about 500,000 plus. So definitely they're on smaller lots, but definitely much more affordable. But if you're in the actual Pinelake Estates, the HOA is about $104 a month. Now this does cover the lakes, the trails, the parks, but the one thing it doesn't have is a community pool, which is some of the negative feedback I get from this neighborhood. But the good thing is about 75% of the homes actually do have a private pool in their backyard. And I do know a lot of people that are interested or considering moving to Chandler are also often considering Gilbert. So if you want to learn about some neighborhoods in Gilbert, these are some neighborhoods I wish I knew before I actually bought my house in Gilbert. So thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.